The film Apocalipsis Z has captivated its audience for over a year, with its thrilling storyline and ambiguous conclusion, aptly titled The Beginning of the End. Viewers will be left in awe long after the final credits roll. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. If you haven't watched the movie yet, then be careful because there'll be spoilers. This movie takes us through a classic zombie apocalypse narrative, following a man who navigates the chaos of a world overrun by the undead, fighting against the odds to protect himself and the friends he encounters on his journey. Join me as we delve into the film's ending. Let's dive right in. The beginning of zombie apocalypse. On the eve of Christmas in Spain, Manel, a lawyer and the proprietor of a solar energy firm, along with his wife Julia, pays a visit to his elder sister Belen, her husband Mario, and their son Carlos. As they make their way home that night, a conversation about Manel's reluctance to start a family leads to a tragic car accident that claims Julia's life. A year goes by, during which Manel isolates himself in his home in Galicia, accompanied only by his cat Luculo, and maintains minimal video contact with his sister and nephew. Deep in his sorrow, he remains oblivious to a dangerous virus outbreak known as TSJ, which is swiftly spreading throughout Europe and defying quarantine efforts. Meanwhile, the Spanish government struggles to keep the public unaware of the virus's horrifying effects, which transform those infected into highly aggressive zombies. Belen's family is eventually relocated to the Canary Islands. When Manel attempts to reunite with them, the government unexpectedly shuts the borders and swiftly imposes a state of emergency. Manel assures Belen that he will remain at home, even as the military tries to evacuate everyone. While gathering supplies, he sees an infected individual assaulting and injuring two police officers. One officer ends up shooting the attacker and then takes his own life, while the other officer succumbs to the infection. In response, Manel fortifies his home and hides when the military arrives to find him. 2 weeks later, Manel finds himself running low on supplies, and the communication networks have completely collapsed, leaving him in the dark about his family's situation. While searching for food in his neighborhood, he encounters an elderly woman named Gabriela, who was unable to evacuate due to her wheelchair. With her assistance, he manages to scavenge a few meager provisions. That evening, she shares news of a radio broadcast calling for any survivors to gather at the Arousa estuary for evacuation to the Canary Islands. Despite Gabriela's concerns, Manel resolves to take them there using a boat that he and Julia own. However, the following morning, as he gets ready to pick up Gabriela, he is devastated to find that she has taken her own life to avoid being a burden on his escape. Manel, accompanied by Luculo and armed with a diving suit and spear gun for protection, makes his way to the docks. Just narrowly escaping a horde of zombies on his tail, he discovers that all the larger boats are either missing or in disrepair. Opting for an inflatable dinghy, he sets sail for Pontevedra, only to be confronted by a ragtag group of armed Russian sailors led by Captain Ushakov. Among them is Viktor Prichenko, a former Ukrainian firefighting pilot, who informs Manel that the Canaries are under quarantine and requests his assistance in scouring the area for supplies. As Manel prepares for bed, he sees another group of refugees arriving and pleading for help. However, the next morning, Prichenko insists that no such group ever came, and Manel later catches the crew rummaging through the refugees' belongings. Manel, feeling increasingly unsafe, confides in Prichenko about a helicopter stationed at a hospital in Pontevedra, the place where his wife passed away. He hopes Prichenko will help him escape, but his pleas fall on deaf ears. Determined to break free, Manel attempts to flee on his own, only to find himself navigating the dark, cramped passages of the ship. There, he stumbles upon two refugees held captive. In his effort to rescue them, a guard catches him in the act and shoots one of the prisoners. Prichenko steps in just in time, taking down the guard, and together, the three of them make a daring escape in a stolen motorboat. Tragically, as they make their getaway, the remaining refugee is shot by the guards, and Prichenko sustains a wound. Upon arriving at the hospital, Manel and Prichenko discover that the helicopter has already left. Manel rushes Prichenko inside for medical attention, but while exploring the facility, he encounters a nurse named Lucia, a nun named Cecilia, and 3 frightened children hiding there. After tending to Prichenko's wounds, Lucia reveals another helicopter located in a courtyard teeming with zombies. Just then, Ushakov's men storm the hospital in search of supplies. The group is forced to escape through an underground boiler room, where they are ambushed by a zombie. Cecilia gets infected and decides to stay behind. The others manage to reach the helicopter and secure the landing pad, but Ushakov and his crew confront them before they can take off. In a desperate move, Manel breaks the lock on the pad's fence, unleashing a horde of zombies that overwhelms Ushakov's men. Manel boards the helicopter as it takes off, and they make their escape. As they approach the Canaries, Manel successfully contacts Belen, only to be met with her frantic warning to stay away. To their dismay, 2 fighter jets fly overhead, signaling that the outbreak has spread to the Canaries. What happened to Belen? In the opening arc of Apocalipsis Z, the beginning of the end, Manel discovers that all the survivors are converging at the Arousa estuary with plans to escape to the Canary Islands. Although Gabriella initially vows to join him on this journey to safety, tragedy strikes, leaving Manel to embark on the perilous journey alone. As the film nears its conclusion, Manel and his newfound companions manage to secure a helicopter that promises to take them to the islands. To Manel's surprise, as they ascend, his phone finally picks up a signal, allowing him to connect with his sister, Belen. However, his relief quickly turns to concern when Belen warns him to steer clear of the Canary Islands as soon as he mentions his destination. Despite Manel's attempts to understand the situation, Belen panics and insists he should not go there, hinting that the islands are no longer safe and that the virus outbreak has reached them. Just as Manel begins to grasp the gravity of the situation, 2 fighter jets streak past their helicopter, signaling an impending airstrike aimed at eradicating the zombie-infested areas, including the Canary Islands, in a desperate attempt to contain the outbreak. Did we get the origin of TZ virus? Apocalipsis Z, the beginning of the end, takes a unique approach by not exploring the origins of the zombie apocalypse. The film opens with Manel grappling with the tragic loss of his wife in a car accident. As the narrative progresses, it fast forwards to a time when Manel is still coming to terms with his grief, all while a viral outbreak is silently sweeping across the world. The story hints that it unfolds in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, suggesting that the virus responsible for the transformation of humans into zombies was likely engineered in a laboratory and deployed as a biological weapon. Manel and the other survivors managed to evade infection by avoiding bites from the infected, indicating that the virus is transmitted through direct contact rather than being airborne. Unlike many typical zombie films where characters often discover cures or methods to control the outbreak, Apocalipsis Z, the beginning of the end, presents a grim reality where survival is the only option, as no cure appears to exist. Visually, the portrayal of the infected aligns closely with traditional representations found in the zombie genre, maintaining a familiar yet chilling atmosphere. Will there be a sequel? The conclusion of Apocalipsis Z, the beginning of the end, indicates that Manel and his team must journey to the Canary Islands to rescue Manel's family before they fall victim to infection or are caught in an airstrike. As this film only covers the first installment of Manel Loureiro's trilogy, the upcoming sequel is expected to delve into the narrative of the second book, showcasing the global spread of the virus. In addition to Manel's quest to save his sister, the sequel may also investigate the virus's origins and uncover the nation responsible for developing this biological weapon. So this was for today's folks. See you in our next video. Till then, bye-bye and take care.
Now what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.